Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Jitsuko YouTube channel. My name is Jacob Berman, and we're going to take a look at some recently released images of the Lumix S1IIE. The source of these images is Panasonic Lumix Brazil. They leaked it themselves, so this doesn't come from some other YouTuber or some other website. This came from Panasonic Lumix Brazil. I'll have the link to the webarchive.org. The part of the website which has these images hosted there. Since from what I can tell, it was actually taken down. I'm not sure. But in either case, it's archived on the Wayback Machine. So I'll have the link to it in the description below and in the pinned comment. What I will briefly say is it looks like this is some sort of alternate continuation of the Lumix S1 series. Considering the Lumix S1R2 came out recently, this S1IIE appears to be some sort of alternative to the S1R2. The design is very, very similar aesthetically. You can see the dials on the left and right look very much like the ones we see on the S1R2. It supposedly is going to be priced at $3,500, which is surprising, since if they're trying to release an alternative to the S1R2, I would imagine they would try to release a camera that's less expensive, not the same price. We'll find out for sure once Lumix officially announces the camera. It doesn't drop just random images here and there, but they actually do a full-scale announcement, which will be in 2 days. I'm hoping that some sort of explanation will be given if it really is going to be the same price as the S1R2, because $3,500 makes it roughly the same price as the S1R2. So why are they going to be charging the same amount of money? Will it include extra features to the S1R2? If they do, I would find it quite self-defeating, since the S1R2 is their flagship camera. Surely this is not going to be a new flagship camera. It's too soon for that. That wouldn't make any sense. My hypothesis is this has got to be a cheaper alternative to the S1R2 if Lumix buyers simply don't want to spend the money on the S1R2. We know that the S1R2 is obviously a flagship competitor to certain very expensive Canon cameras, Nikon cameras, Sony cameras, etc., where you get the same kind of features or close to the same kind of features as a flagship camera from one of those other brands for thousands less. A fast example would be the Canon EOS R1. It is because the Canon EOS R1 is considered a flagship camera, and it came out a few months prior to the release of the Lumix S1R2. And getting the EOS R1 will be thousands of dollars more. So that's a primary example of how Lumix is trying to compete with the other brands. So why they are releasing the Lumix S1IIE, assuming it's going to be the same price, would be strange. But anyway, at this point, I'm repeating myself. Y'all get the message. I'm sure there's going to be an explanation, so we're going to find out in 2 days. In fact, based on the rumored price, actually $3,500 would technically make it more expensive than the Lumix S1R2. Now, if that is the case, then the S1IIE must be slightly more powerful than the S1R2. But again, as I said throughout this video, that also wouldn't make any sense, because again, the S1R2 is the flagship camera. Surely they're not going to release another flagship camera that fast. I would think that to be quite idiotic if they were to. That just doesn't make sense. So what was the point of the S1R2? What, are they going to have 2 flagship cameras? Surely not. This is why I have a hard time believing it's going to be priced at $3,500. And I suspect that this is going to be actually a cheaper alternative to the S1R2. Now, we do see some similarities with the S1R2 that I haven't discussed so far, and that is when you look at the shutter, it apparently will have a closed shutter according to this leaked image. The other thing that it apparently will have is the ability to tilt screen and to rotate the screen as well. But if you look at the tilt a little bit more closely there, it looks like it can only tilt upwards or downwards. It can't be pulled out like you can with the S1R2. So this seems to be, although it can tilt up or down, it's otherwise fixed to that very specific location of the camera. It can't be pulled out. It has to stay connected firmly to the camera. So if this image is if I'm interpreting that correctly, then that's actually a limitation that you do not have on the S1R2, because on the S1R2 you can pull the entire thing outward towards you, and you can flip it all the way up, or you can flip it all the way down. Whereas here it looks more like the Lumix GH7. Again, if this is supposed to be a cheaper alternative to the S1R2, that would make sense that the design aesthetic is, well, not design aesthetic, but more like the design is less ergonomic. That should be expected of a camera that's supposed to be cheaper. So again, the $3,500 price range doesn't make any sense to me, because that's either slightly more expensive than the Lumix S1R2, or it's about the same price depending on if you get the Lumix S1R2 kit instead. But in either case, it's either slightly the same, it's either slightly above the price range of the S1R2, or it's about the same price depending on how you look at it. Again, these reports that it's going to be more expensive than the S1R2 just simply does not make any sense. It's possible, maybe I'm just being stupid, I don't know. But again, I find it highly unlikely. It's more likely to me it is a cheaper alternative to the S1R2. So that's all I have for you today. If you found this video to be informative, please like and subscribe, and I'll see all of you later. Thank you.